You know, I've met thousands of people across the world who want change. They want to grow, they want to succeed, they want to find peace, love, power. But what they don't realize is that change doesn't start by adding more. It starts by removing what doesn't belong. You can't build a masterpiece on a foundation filled with cracks. And you can't build a powerful life if your heart and mind are full of negativity. You can't move forward carrying yesterday's poison. You can't step into your destiny while holding hands with your pain. That's where most people get stuck, not because they don't know what to do, but because they're still holding on to what they need to let go of. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to move on, to start fresh, to dream again, but the past kept whispering in your ear? That voice that says, remember when you failed, or remember when they hurt you, or remember when you weren't good enough? That's the poison I'm talking about. It's subtle, it's quiet, but it's deadly. It sits in your mind and eats away at your confidence, your hope, your energy. Every time you take a step forward, it pulls you 2 steps back. And most people never even notice it happening because it's become normal. But the truth is, you can't pour new wine into an old wineskin. You can't live an extraordinary life with an ordinary mindset. You can't experience peace while replaying pain. Every single thought you hold is power. It's either creating or destroying. It's either building your future or reinforcing your past. That's why your mind becomes your greatest weapon or your biggest prison. And here's the thing, no one else can clean it for you. No one else can empty it out. You have to be the one to stand up and say, enough, I'm done carrying this. The pain you've experienced, the betrayals, the losses, the disappointments, they were real. I'm not here to tell you to forget them or pretend they didn't happen. What I'm telling you is this: you don't have to keep drinking the same poison over and over again, because every time you relive that pain, you give it power. Every time you tell that same story, you anchor yourself to that version of you that was hurting, but you're not that person anymore. You've grown, you've evolved, you've survived things that would have broken others. That means you have strength in you that's been tested, refined, proven. But that strength can't fully shine if it's buried under layers of resentment, doubt, and negativity. You've got to empty it out, you've got to release it, because when you do, you create space, and space is sacred. Space is potential. You see, nature abhors a vacuum. When you clear something out, something new rushes in to fill that space. So if you empty out the negative, you make room for the positive. You make room for peace, for gratitude, for joy. You make room for growth. And that's where transformation begins, not in adding more goals or chasing more things, but in creating the inner environment where good things can actually take root. It's like planting a garden. If the soil is full of weeds and rocks, no matter how good your seeds are, they'll never grow. The same applies to your mind. If your thoughts are filled with fear, anger, or bitterness, then even the most powerful ideas won't take hold. You've got to pull out the weeds, the toxic thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the resentment, and prepare the ground. Only then can you plant something that will flourish. And here's what's amazing: when you begin to clear out the mental clutter, you start seeing things differently. You start realizing how much power you actually have. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before because your mind was clouded. But letting go isn't easy. Sometimes we hold on to negativity because it feels familiar. Pain becomes a kind of comfort zone. You might say, I don't want to feel angry anymore, but deep down, you've identified with that anger for so long that without it, you don't know who you'd be. You might say, I want to forgive, but a part of you thinks, if I forgive, it means what they did was okay. No. Forgiveness doesn't mean approval. Forgiveness means freedom. It means you stop letting that person or that event control your emotions. It means you stop handing your power over to the past. So how do you empty it out? You start with awareness. You start noticing when negative thoughts enter your mind. You don't have to fight them. You just have to see them. Awareness is power because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Once you see it, you can decide, this doesn't belong in me anymore. You can literally say out loud, I release this. It sounds simple, but it's profound, because what you declare, you direct, then you replace it. Because if you don't fill that space with something better, negativity will creep back in. Replace anger with understanding. Replace fear with faith. Replace bitterness with gratitude. Every time a negative thought comes up, use it as a signal not to sink, but to rise. Let it remind you that you have a choice. Because you always have a choice. You can choose to carry the pain, or you can choose to carry the lesson. You can choose to live in the story of your wounds or the story of your wisdom. The problem is, most people live their lives reacting to the past instead of creating their future. They wake up each morning and replay the same emotions, the same memories, the same problems, like a song stuck on repeat. And then they wonder why nothing changes. You can't create a new outcome while living in an old pattern. Change happens the moment you say, I'm done with this pattern. I'm done letting the old me run the show. That's when you take back control. That's when you shift from being the victim of your story to being the author of it. And let me tell you something, the moment you decide to let go, to truly empty out the negative, life begins to open up for you. Opportunities show up. Peace shows up. Clarity shows up because your energy changes. When you carry negativity, it's like walking through life with a dark cloud over your head. People feel it. You feel it. But when you release it, when you let that weight go, there's a lightness that people can see in your eyes, in your voice, in your energy. That's real transformation. Some of you have been carrying guilt for things that happened years ago. Let it go. You've already punished yourself enough. Some of you are still angry at someone who's not even in your life anymore. Let it go. Don't let their chapter keep controlling your story. Some of you have convinced yourselves that you're not good enough because of what someone said to you when you were a kid. Empty that out. That was never truth. It was just projection. You've got to become ruthless about what you allow to stay inside you because your inner world creates your outer world. If you're filled with negativity, everything you touch will feel heavy. But if you're filled with clarity, gratitude, and love, everything you do will carry light. That's why you can meet two people with the same challenges. One is crushed by them, the other grows through them. The difference isn't circumstance, it's what they carry inside. So right now, I want you to think about what you've been holding on to that's no longer serving you. Maybe it's a memory, maybe it's a belief, maybe it's a relationship. Whatever it is, I want you to see it clearly in your mind. And now take a deep breath and imagine yourself letting it go. See it leaving your body, your mind, your heart. Feel that space opening up inside of you. That's freedom. That's power. That's peace. You weren't born to carry all that pain. You were born to grow, to love, to create. But you can't do that if you're constantly weighed down by things you should have released long ago. You can't receive new blessings while your hands are full of old burdens. So let them go. Empty them out. When you finally stop holding on to what's been hurting you, you realize something incredible. You didn't lose anything. You gained yourself. You gained your clarity. You gained your strength. You gained your ability to see life as it is, not as your pain painted it. You gained the space to breathe again, to dream again, to live again. And that's the real victory, not pretending everything's perfect, but realizing that no matter what happened, it can't define you because you're not the pain, you're the power that rises from it. You're not the story, you're the author rewriting it. So take that step today. Empty out the negativity, empty out the old stories, empty out the fear that says you can't, because the truth is you can. You always could. You were just too weighed down to see it. Once you let go of what's holding you back, you won't need to chase happiness. It'll find you. You won't need to beg for peace. You'll feel it. You won't need to force success. You'll attract it because you'll finally be aligned with the truth of who you really are. Let go of what's heavy. Make room for what's holy, because the only thing standing between the life you have and the life you desire is what you refuse to release.